Welcome back to the Sacred Arts channel, where we discuss all things from the practical to the sacred. Dreams are one of my favorite things to talk about. I love sharing my dreams and hearing about other people's dreams as well, because I truly believe it unlocks a part of our unconscious. Today, we welcome expert dream tracker Bambi Corso-Steinmeyer. Bambi is an accomplished author, dream expert, and law of attraction certified coach. Bambi's expertise lies in the dream work, empowering others to harness their innate gift of dreaming for guidance, healing, and transformation. She studied the work of luminaries like Dr. Wayne Dyer, Myss, and Carl Jung. She holds 2 dream tending certificates and is a member of the International Association of the Study of Dreams. Her contributions to the Dream Network Journal and the book 101 Great Ways to Enhance Your Career further attest to her dedication and expertise in the realm of dreams and personal growth. Welcome, Bambi.
Hi, Jassy. So great to be here with you.
Yes, I'm so excited to dive into this.
Me
I want to,
too.
yes, absolutely. I want to start off with giving the audience a little bit of a glimpse into, what your journey was like. When did you first realize the significance of dreams? And how did that realization kind of shape your journey into becoming a dream worker?
Ooh, fun. I started really early, Jassy. I was 15 years old when I started actually journaling my dreams. And I think I was always really interested in different kinds of things, different spiritual aspects of life at a very young age. So, I had that benefit. But I had a dream that was so intense one afternoon when I was 15. And when I woke up, I was like, there is so much more going on with dream work, because it kind of like I had a fear of fire growing up when I was very little. And in the dream, it was almost like it took me back to a time that explained why I had this fear of fire. And I realized that there's something else that's informing all the time, and something that's trying to help, the equilibrium or the balance inside of myself. So that was what started me on the dream journey. But dream dictionaries were one of the only things that you could find. And at the time, I didn't know about works of like Carl Jung and some of the therapeutic dream work. So I was just researching in New Age bookstores and things like that. And the problem was, every time I would look up a symbol, it would say, well, if you dreamt of a black snake, it means this. And if you dreamt of the ocean, it means this. And I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't fit. Like, it doesn't work. So over time, as more and more people have become interested in doing dream work and writing books, it's been 40 years since I have been on the journey. And I think one of the most important things that I have learned is that dream images and dream work is very personal, because our psyche, subconscious, unconscious, chooses images that are very specific to us. And it makes all the difference, because of if you dream of a black snake, it's probably going to mean something completely different than if I dream of one. So
Mm.
it's a very personal journey. And that's kind of the long way going around how I got started in it. But yeah, I'm just passionate about dream work. I love I love the transformation that I see in clients by doing dream work.
Oh my gosh, I love that story because I feel like so many of us can resonate with that. We're all looking for something deeper, like meanings to it. And I can so resonate with the dream dictionaries. I grew up with that in the 90s and the 80s and
Yes.
always fell short. And so I love that we have so many more resources now and we're really dialing in now. I know you wrote an amazing book. Can you tell us a little bit about what it means to track your dreams and maybe explain a little bit of the principles around dream interpretation?
Yes, I'd love to. So, my book, Dream Tracking, takes ideas of working with dreams as well as the life coaching part of my life, and kind of combines them, which becomes a journey. But the idea of tracking dreams is the foundation of it, actually, Jesse, is journaling your dreams. And the reason it's so crucial is you have to start the journey with something to be able to look back over time. And I'm sure you know, as soon as you have a dream in the morning, if you don't write it down, it's gone, right? They just evaporate. So writing everything down as soon as you get up is the most important piece of dream work, because otherwise all the details are going to be gone within moments sometimes. So the idea of tracking is you start writing down your dreams, and then you start looking for patterns or similarities or some kind of a sequence within the dreams where for example, if I start dreaming about volcanoes and wildfires and things that are very explosive in nature, and maybe it only shows up once or twice, maybe 3 times, maybe it becomes more and more, I can start looking at each of those as a track between dreams that is informing me about, let's just say, it becomes something where I'm really, really upset inside. I'm really angry. I don't have any way to express myself. And so in my dreams, it's blowing up. It's volcanic. It's a wildfire. It's out of control. And by watching and it's not always going to be the same image. But it's going to be hints and clues that you follow. So it's really about exploring the dreams, discovering what they are meaning to you, and tracking things that have a similar pattern within them, if that makes sense. So, and I
Mhm.
use it just like if you were tracking in nature, if you're just tracking and watching the animals, are there footprints left? What are the clues and the signs? Are there synchronicities around the dream, right? Are there little hairs and fibers left on the branches in my dreams where I can look and go, oh, yeah, okay, that relates to that one. And now I've got my journal. I can go back, I can look, and I can start tying these pieces together to see what is it that's trying to come up out of my own subconscious and into my waking life awareness.
Yeah, I find this concept so fascinating because before I even had your book or, did your course, I never even thought about tracking it. Like I knew about journaling and like keeping notes on my dreams, but to go back and look at the clues like a detective would, it really gave like a new meaning to shadow work, if
Hmm.
you will, and it really allowed me to kind of I love the term that you use at some point you said like weaving it all together
Hmm.
and understanding that concept for me really has changed the way that
Mm.
I look at my dreams and the way that it's developed for me, so thank you for that.
Oh my gosh, you're welcome. Oh, and I realized too, I didn't tell you the difference between tracking and interpretation, because I think that's a really great point and an excellent question that you raise. There is still a level of interpretation when you're tracking your dreams, because you are looking for things that are informing you about whatever's going on in your life or giving you information and guidance. But I don't call it dream interpretation, because it's not like you would come to me and say, Bambi, I had this dream. What does it mean? And I tell you what I think it means, and that's the interpretation of the dream. And then it gets filed away. Instead, the idea of tracking, it keeps all of the dreams current. It keeps all of them like alive right now, so that nothing ever is just completely solid and, oh, I know exactly what that was and I put that away. No, it's part of an ongoing parallel story to my waking life that is constantly living with me each and every day as I'm moving along. So I like to keep all the dreams very much in the here and now. I think we also have a tendency to look at them like they're past tense. So I've
Yeah.
woken up from a dream and I write down everything. And then I think, okay, well, it's all over. It's done. It was in the past, and then I move on. But tracking helps us keep all of them in like interrelated and connected to each other. And I just think that it gives for a very different experience of dream work.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I do think that you're right in terms of like, oh, that already happened. What's the use of even diving into that? Unless it's like a recurring dream or a nightmarish dream that keeps on happening, which I kind of wanted to ask a little bit about that because some of us just want to kind of stuff that away and not think about it. What would you say to somebody that's kind of hesitant in maybe starting to track their dreams or really looking into some of those nightmares?
It's such a good question because that is one of the things I hear from people a lot. You know, the dreams that people tend to remember, Jassy, are the nightmares. And so they don't have this great experience of actually doing dream work where you start understanding and seeing that there's also dreams that are completely opposite of nightmares, and they're absolutely fantastic. But I would say to somebody who is hesitant, there's nothing to lose in starting to pay attention to the dreams. And by starting to just journal them anyways, you're releasing some of that energy around nightmarish figures because you are actually paying attention to and giving voice to something that's coming up within you and showing up in the dreams. So it's already helping just to start journaling whatever it is that you have. It doesn't mean that the nightmares are going to maybe completely go away. There's so many different reasons people have them, but it loosens the field, you know, and it gets people curious because I could have a nightmare one day and then all of a sudden I could have some angelic visitation that gives me a piece of information that's really crucial and completely helps me. So if I block all that out because I'm afraid because I had a nightmare, I'm losing so much. So it really just becomes, you know, the question of what might you be missing if you
Mhm.
don't just dive in and just start trying it. And
Mm.
recurring dreams are a little bit different. Um, Recurring dreams are literally like having the same dream over and over. And what I would suggest to anybody that might be watching about recurring dreams, look at where it began because recurring dreams always have a start point. And generally, there'll have been an event that took place where these started happening. And because they keep repeating, there's something that is unfinished, it is unresolved, and it keeps repeating and keeps repeating. So it's good to recognize where it began because then you can start doing the work, you know,
Mm.
and start working on healing that particular part. Because when people, it's so fascinating, when people do recognize that, all of a sudden the dreams shift. All they had to do was bring some consciousness around it and say, oh, this is okay, yeah, I get this now, I can take some steps and I can move on. um but recurring dreams also are kind of like, I think that, let me sidetrack on the nightmares. I think that anybody who's gotten to a point of having a nightmare has probably in their dreams been having a little tug and a little poking from other dreams, but it hasn't been getting their attention. And so when you have the nightmare and this really intense energy shows up and fear and everything else that shows up in nightmares, now it's gotten to a point where it's like, hello, you have not been paying attention. Now I am demanding your attention and I'm going to over exaggerate to get your attention. So,
Mhm.
you know, nightmares generally are, they are over exaggerations of something that we haven't tended to. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I love that. I wanted to ask about, besides mere curiosity and wanting to really work on our dreams, what are like some of the benefits or some of the reasons why we should be paying attention to our dreams, let alone tracking them?
Mm, such a good question. In our culture, we're not brought up realizing that dreams are a crucial part of being human. And the way that I and other dream workers that I know work with dreams, it's it's like a built-in internal navigation system. So, you know, we're not just thrown out from the heavens down onto earth and we have absolutely no guidance. We have our instincts, we have our intuition, and we have our dreams. And when we start paying attention to our dreams, we actually access a guidance system that helps us in our day-to-day life. So when you start paying attention to your dreams, you could be, you know, it can be the answer to a prayer. It can be guidance about something. It can be information from your body saying something's out of balance. I need you to have this checked out. There are so many examples of people who have received information in dreams that even became these huge innovations in society that have literally changed the world. You know, the DNA structure, the man that was working on that had a dream that finally made the whole thing fall together and woke up and understood the structure of DNA. That's huge. That's from a dream. Everything from the sewing machine coming to completion because of a dream, or mathematical equations being solved, chemistry. And it doesn't have to be that big, right? These are people who are inventors. But on your day-to-day life, for people like us, maybe who aren't inventors, we're constantly being given information that we can use to improve our life and to
Mm.
improve ourselves, transform limiting beliefs. It's endless. Like, I could go off on that for an hour, but I think just paying attention to dreams gives you another entire area of life that is informing you. So,
Mm.
yeah.
That's a great reason to start tracking your dreams. At some point, I remember someone saying that they didn't remember their dreams, and I
Mm.
felt like, "What? How is that even possible?" Because I'm such an avid dreamer. What do you think about reasons why certain
Mm.
people are unable to remember those dreams? And then for that audience, where do they start?
Oh, yeah. So people who, I would say the majority of people that don't remember their dreams is because they haven't paid enough attention to wanting to work on their dreams.
Mm.
So there are people like you and me who are avid dreamers and they come no matter what. But as soon as you just show interest in dreams, they will start showing up. And I have had so many conversations with people who said the exact thing that you just said. I never remember my dreams. I don't even have dreams. And I'm telling that no, that's impossible because everybody dreams whether you remember it or not. And there's like, 3 to 5 or 3 to 7 dreams that you have every night. So just by bringing your attention to dream work, that changes it and you'll start remembering them better. There are reasons why people wouldn't remember dreams. Head trauma sometimes can be a deterrent to remembering dreams. Drugs and alcohol can be a deterrent. Medication is another one. But generally, even if any of those are going on, if you're really, really wanting to work on your dreams and you read about dreams, watch a film about dreams, just get curious about dreams, as soon as you start putting your intention out there, something will show up, even even if some of those other things are going on.
Yeah, it's so true because there are times in my life where I stop dreaming or I don't remember my dreams. And as soon as I set that intention, it's like, whoa, okay, it's back.
Yeah. Yep. It's that quick, right?
Yep. It's all of that's what I've learned about life in general. Like I feel like everything is about intention.
Yes. Yes, it's so true.
Yeah.
That is so everything.
Yeah, and speaking of which, I know that you're a certified law of attraction coach. Can you tell us a little bit about how do you connect the insights from dream work with the
Mm,
principles of the law of attraction? And
yes.
are our dreams hinting at what we are manifesting in our lives?
Okay. Oh, I love that question. So what I found over time is that, again, so as we're paying attention to our dreams and we're starting to track them and look at different imagery that might be repeating in some way, fashion, or form, they will show us if we are paying attention and we're looking for the tracks, it'll show us where we're operating from. Meaning if I have limiting beliefs, it's going to show up in my dreams. If I am coming from a lot of anxiety and stress in my life, it's going to show up in my dreams. So if I use my dreams as a reflection back into my life, I can see what set point I'm at. So in the Ask and It Is Given book, um, there's an entire emotional guidance scale. So it has everything from love at the very, very top to fear at the very, very bottom, and then all the emotions in between. So what I do to work towards helping people understand where they're at and how to get into a better place through the law of attraction is first look at the emotions in the dreams. So if I start seeing that everything that I'm doing, everything that I'm dreaming is showing up kind of in the lower third of that scale, I can then say, okay, something's not right here. I have to change my thinking. I have to change my habits. I need something to, I need to put more positivity into my life. I need to elevate my energy into something better. And your dreams are always commenting on the different levels. And sometimes, you could have a high and a low both in one dream, but that's the tracking piece that you start noticing. Look for what is the pattern. And then from there, you can take some steps. You can get coaching, you can read books, you can do whatever it is that works for you to then work your way up into a better place.
Mm. I mean, that makes so much sense to me because I feel like a lot of my dreams get super intense
Mm,
when I watch a lot of like crime shows or I'm in a certain vibration where I don't think I'm absorbing it,
yeah.
but my dreams are very telling. Like as you were talking, I'm like, oh, aha, like that's why I have all these weird disconnected kind of dreams. I feel like you just gave me a little bit of insight.
Well, and to that point too, because I think you just brought up a point you don't even know you brought up. People, if you watch a lot of TV before you go to bed at night, which a lot of people do, will tend to dream about the stuff that we saw.
Mm-hmm.
And we
Yeah.
can say, well, it was just that crime show. Oh, it was just, I saw that image, whatever. There's kind of two parts to that. Number one is you have to ask yourself, but of all the 100,000 things I saw today, images in my life, from the curtains to the floor to the cars, whatever, why did Psyche pick out that one?
Mm-hmm.
But also, this is what's in my head as I'm going to bed. And what happens is we marinate the entire sleep cycle on whatever we have fed ourselves that night, mentally, spiritually. So coming up with a nighttime routine, like I'm big on a morning routine and a nighttime routine. And if you can take a nighttime routine and say, okay, you know what? I'm going to turn off the TV an hour before I go to sleep. I'm going to do some meditation. I'm going to do a guided something to help me at least marinate on something positive. Your dreams will shift also, you know, because you do. We marinate, we process this all night long, whatever we were just experiencing. The other stuff will show up, but we'll tend to remember more of the things that we had just seen before bed.
Yeah. It's so true. Thank you for
Yeah.
processing that. I know that you mentioned earlier, about the man that put together the DNA strands
Mm.
and things like that. Are there any other particularly impactful examples where dream work profoundly influenced someone's life or even their decisions or path?
Oh God. I mean, I probably have an example for every person I've ever worked with.
Ooh.
Because like I said, it's generally not that big. Those are the big ones that made history that you can actually Google and get a list of the top 15, experiences that people had with dreams and what they did in the world based on it. Even Stephanie Meyer, who did the Twilight series,
Oh yeah.
all of that came out of a dream. You know, she got inspired by a beginning dream that just she decided to start turning it into story. And then she let her imagination pick up and run with the rest of it. So there's a lot of writers who have written books because of ideas that they had in dreams. Jekyll and Hyde, Frankenstein. Of course, it's more monsters, but um, even Jonathan Livingston Seagull was kind of completed from a dream. I think, if I remember the story correctly, he had started to write that book, which again, we're going back in time, like 70s, 80s back. But that book, he had started writing it and then he set it down for 7 years and he had a dream. And when he woke up from the dream, he picked up his book manuscript and finished the book and published it. And it became a best selling book. So those are, again, those are people who've done bigger things that you can find. But for personal and individual people, so I'll give you an example of one of mine because this is not a big giant thing, but in the scheme of my life, it's a big giant thing. So in the late 90s when I was doing the dream tending certification, I was so shy. Jesse, if I'm like, I had no voice. I was terrified of talking in public. It was a big thing. I was just very, like, I just couldn't, I would freak out. It would be really a big thing for me. So in my dream, and this is really cool because this also speaks to dreams and synchronicity, which we can go into later if we want, if we have time. So in the dream, I'm in this big auditorium with my mentor who was teaching dream tending, and he's got a mic, and I'm standing down on the floor with him, and he hands me the mic and he says, I want you to introduce the next people that are coming up. And I go, I freeze. And I go, but I don't even, he goes, their names are Bob and Hope. And I don't know, I have no idea what to say. I have no idea how to introduce them. I look into the audience, I see this Bob and this Hope, and they're the Link family somehow in the dream. And I go, okay, well, that's really specific, but and then I wake up from the dream going, I already know what this means. I have to learn public speaking. Because I knew if I ever wanted to be a dream worker, and if I ever wanted to get my message about the importance of dreams out into the world, I was going to have to get over my terror of speaking in public. So I wake up, I'm like, I know what this means. So, but I trust my dreams and I will act on them all the time. So I find a local Toastmasters like within the week. I show up at the Toastmasters, Jassy, and I walk in, and there's a big sign for that particular club. And the name of it is Rhetorical Link. So, and immediately I'm like, oh my God, there's the Link family. This is so weird. Okay. Then the man, because I'm just there as a guest, the man who's running that particular one that night, he reads the lyrics to a Bob Hope song.
Wow.
And I'm like, there's Bob and Hope. And so I knew immediately, like that was complete confirmation and complete synchronicity. I didn't know these people from anybody. I joined. I spent 2 years learning how to do public speaking. And if I had not done that, Jassy, I probably would still be in that same place where I would be terrified to speak in public or give presentations and do the kinds of things that are required for me to live my authentic life and to be able to share what I feel like I have to share in my lifetime. So,
Yeah.
it's a personal version of DNA thread, right? It's yeah.
That's incredible. I mean, I love that story. I cannot even imagine you being so shy, but I believe it because, I love also that you trust your dreams,
Yeah.
because had you repelled and like ignored, how long would it have taken you to get to where you're at now, right? If at all. So I think that that's a really key point that I want to call out, because I know that I myself have had trust issues within myself in like trusting what something means, or if I should move forward on, or, basically take action on
Mm-hmm.
something that I've dreamt. I
I
do
think
want to get, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say the trust piece is crucial
Yeah.
because sometimes the trust means you have to do something hard
Mm-hmm.
and uncomfortable. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the trust means you have to change something in your life and it's not going to be easy. But that's where the trust comes in, because your intuition again is always, and your inner knowing is speaking through dreams all the time.
Oh my gosh, you're blowing my mind. I do want to dive in a little bit around synchronicities, because
Mm,
there are certain dreams that I have when something's going to happen.
okay.
And I already know, like, for example, I've had this dream 3 times in my life where my teeth are falling out.
Mm,
And that for me normally signifies that I'm going to have to do a huge layoff soon, or,
mm,
within the next couple of days. I have not had any hints. Maybe subconsciously I've picked up the hints in the way people behave at work or whatever
okay.
the case may be. but that usually is what it means. Or I'll have a similar dream like you just had, where there's like a word or a song that I woke up with during that day, and all of a sudden it's playing at the supermarket or something like that. Or I'm wearing a shirt I didn't want to wear, but I saw it in my dream, and all of a sudden somebody's like coming towards me because I'm wearing that shirt, or
Mm,
whatever the case may be. I think that you actually gave that example in your last workshop, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's happened to me."
yeah.
So can you speak a little bit around, the synchronicities within the dreams, and how
Mm.
we can kind of tie all that together?
So it's such an interesting concept because you can go different ways with it. But if you're paying attention to your dreams, you will start having synchronicities in waking life. And to me, and most of the people that I know who have had this experience, the synchronicity confirms the dream. Right? Also, synchronicities tend to happen when we're talking about the law of attraction when you are in flow, when you are not, fighting upstream, up energetic stream. You're moving along with life and things are flowing. Synchronicities will tend to show up much more often. So I feel like when we go to sleep and we dream at night, we've left the physical form, the ego is out of the way, and we have access to literally everything. And we pick up on energies that are in us, but also around us, right? Because everything we know is energy. Everything is made up of the same things, the molecules and the atom, everything on the planet. So when we tune in, we can start picking up on energies of other things. And so, for example, your dream of the teeth falling out, even though you don't know that there's going to be a layoff, some part of you is sensing what is happening around you in your environment, right? And then this comes. And in your inner knowing, which you've now tapped into somehow in your dream, it's foreshadowing that there's going to be something happening and you can prepare yourself for it. But that's also getting to know your own personal imagery, which is what is so cool, right? Like that becomes your personal dictionary, right? Of when I have this dreams, this happens. So I think synchronicities are, to me, they've just always been confirmation
Mm, yeah.
that yeah. And in dreams and waking life, when you start seeing things like that overlap, I think that your waking life and your dream life at that point are, they're connecting and they're working together.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I'm really interested to hear your opinion around, now we have all these devices where it kind of measures like our brain waves, and we have like technology is so advanced now, and it's literally at our fingertips. Where do you
Yeah.
see the future of dream work, and how we can use it to like leverage it to, transform and better our lives?
Mm. The technology piece, it is part of life at this point. That being said, I believe still that soul speaks to something that goes back in time, to more the natural world, to the influences around us in the natural world. So for me, if I go out into nature, it works a lot better than if I'm on a laptop all day. But I don't know. I think people, if you can find the time to still stay connected to something that feeds soul,
Mhm.
I don't always think of technology as feeding soul, but it does for some. And there are many parts of technology that are crucial to our life now and that do feed our soul. We couldn't be having this conversation without technology. So there's some huge, wonderful benefits to it also. So I think it's about balance and still finding a way to get your feet on the ground and still, because all of this is, it's all inner work. So as long as we're working with it for our benefit, I, it works. I just still think that we need to feel the water and smell the flowers and feel, the dirt under our feet at the same time.
It's so interesting you say that because I feel like this has been my theme for the last 2 weeks
Mm,
where I keep on telling people like I feel like everything in life is not just intention, but also everything in moderation.
mhm,
Everything,
mhm.
like from technology to sleep to food, it's all it's like about being in the middle and experiencing things in a very balanced way. So
Yes.
I love that advice. Speaking of advice, for any of our eager listeners, what would you recommend for them to begin their journey into dream tracking and
Mm.
understand what steps or practices they might take?
Ooh, how about if I'll give you a couple of tips on dream recall and a couple of tips on dream journaling, because I think
Perfect.
that's a
Yes.
good start. Um, the first thing, of course, is an open notebook or a notebook. Find a notebook that you love. Find one that you like the feel of it, you like the paper, it's not too thin, it's you like the notebook because you're going to have a relationship with this notebook. Have a notebook, have a pen, have a flashlight, and keep it next to your bed open, because that will set the intention that you are ready to start remembering your dreams and writing them down. So that's the first, the have to have thing. Um, then I have found, if just setting the intention alone, a lot of times, or just having a conversation like you and I are having, people will say, "Oh my gosh, I never remember my dreams." And then I'll have a conversation with them about dreams, and they'll call me the next day and go, "Oh my God, you will not believe what just happened." I'm like, "You just had a big dream." "Yes, it was huge. I can't believe it." But it's only because we brought attention to it, right? It's just like I'm going to buy a red Honda, and now I see them everywhere. There's
Yeah.
something about, right, that we pick up, and whatever we're putting out, we start seeing it now.
Mhm.
So setting that intention, reading about it, talking about dreams, watching films about dreams. I know we mentioned this a little bit earlier. Even if you have one dream that, let's just say you had a childhood dream, Jassy, and you haven't remembered a dream since childhood, start by writing whatever you remember about that dream as the first thing in your journal. Because you're again, I keep all the dreams are happening now, right? It's not that it's so old. I could still have something to learn from that dream, but just writing it down gets my brain and my arm and my hands connected. Putting it down on paper, there's an experience that's now in my psyche and in my knowing. So that helps. Um, and then little things like not not having a crazy loud alarm clock in the morning, because as soon as it's like the dreams are like, oh hell no, they're gone. So I have a cat who wakes me up at 4:30 every single morning or earlier. And a lot of times that will keep me from remembering my dreams, but sometimes it'll wake me up just in time to remember a dream. But it's
Mm.
more gentle than the alarm clock. So finding a gentle way, whether it's chimes, very soft music with no words, something like that you can wake up to that is less invasive. That's helpful. Um, and then as far as journaling, there's a couple of things that will make a huge difference. And I know you'll know these because from our workshop, but write day notes at the top of the page, or something to describe the day that you had, and anything that really stuck out to you. So today, in my day notes, I'm going to say, Jassy and I had this fantastic conversation today, and I was so excited about it. It was a great day. That'll be my day notes for today. And then when I dream tomorrow morning, I'll date it for tomorrow morning and write it down, but writing it in the present tense. And the reason is, again, it keeps it now. It doesn't keep the dream in the past. And huge ahas happen when we write a dream in the present tense. So if you're dreaming about the ocean a lot, for example, and let's say that the dream is, oh, I was in a boat and it capsized and I was drowning and I couldn't breathe underwater. And you change it to present tense. I am in a boat and it's capsized and I am drowning and I can't breathe. That changes everything. Just that, because now I viscerally know, oh, okay, I am I feel like I'm drowning. Maybe I have a huge workload. Maybe I have too many things to do around the house. Maybe the kids are just, they need so much and I am drowning and I feel like I can't breathe. And I need some me time, maybe, like the dream is calling on something, it's pointing something out to show. So, but write the dream in the present tense. Huge help because it will give you a really good indication of what the dream is starting to hint at. Um, and then also you can go back now and say, well, or look at the day notes and say, well, oh, this is what was going on when I had that dream. And then you can go back to the other dream where there was a similar pattern or track. Oh, you know what? Something very similar was going on the same time that I had that will, you'll start seeing patterns that way too, from your daytime life and the notes into the dreaming and what happens after that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third tip would be, as far as the journaling, give the dream a title. It'll be easier to find. And it also makes you take the entire dream and just kind of condense it into one idea. And it'll never hold everything, but in your memory, you'll remember, oh, that was, that was that dream, the capsized boat and I'm drowning dream.
Mm-hmm.
Easier to find. And you can also just use the titles to start tracking. So that's what I would, anybody who is interested in just beginning the journey, that would be my starting point.
That's perfect. And I feel like, I tried a lot of those tips and it really did shift the way that I dreamt. I
Yeah.
got a little bit more nuggets. So that was perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You mentioned watching movies about dreams.
Mhm.
Can you recommend a couple of films for our fellow listeners?
There's been a couple documentaries on dreams. Some of them are not that easy to find. Um, there is the movie What Dreams May Come that is partially dream related, but it also has a kind of some dark stuff in there, but that is a dream. That is a movie about dreams that was good. The movie Inception is also kind of about dreams, but again, I'm kind of leaning more towards the documentaries. The most fascinating documentary that I have seen on dreams is called Appointment with the Wise Old Dog. It's many years old, Jassy, but it is the most exquisite. It's 30 minutes, and it's about a man who is a composer he has cancer, I believe, and he starts having dreams and he starts drawing images from his dream. And his drawings are like a 5-year-old, because that's his level of drawing. That's what mine would be. I have no drawing skills, but he starts doing them in like colorful chalk, and he starts drawing all of these dreams, and they're going through his whole story in this documentary, and you watch the progression of what's happening and the information that he's getting as he is now approaching the end of his life. The movie gives me chills and makes me cry every time I see it, or the film. It is so amazing. But something like that, where again, it's getting into your psyche about dreams. There's some amazing even CDs. Well, I know that's a little dated, but I'm older, about dreams that are great. Clarissa Pinkola Estes has a beautiful CD. You can get it. It Sounds True. And it's called In the House of the Riddle Mother. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. And listening to that, there's like no way you wouldn't have a dream. It's exquisite, and she's an amazing storyteller.
Oh,
So
she
there's
is.
things like that are out there too that you can listen to. Different people. Marion Woodman has a bunch of tapes and was really big into dream work and applying that to patients that she worked with in a therapeutic environment.
Wow, that's incredible. For those of you that are
Yeah.
in the book club, Estes is the same woman who wrote Women that Run with the Wolves.
Yep.
And so she's
Same woman.
absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
So cool. Thank you for those recommendations.
And
I
just
could
reading
talk about,
books too, Jassy. There's so many books on dreams now.
I'm
So
sure.
you can go just buy a book on dreams and start reading about them. Same
Yeah.
thing. That's probably would be easier because it's so much easier to find.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I would recommend all of our listeners. I think your book is on Amazon, correct?
Mhm.
Yeah, Dream Tracking by Bambi Corso Steinmeyer. Incredible book. I highly recommend it to
Thank you.
everyone. And I can talk about this all day. I feel so giddy talking about the subject. But I think we can go ahead and wrap it up. Do you have any events or workshops that are coming up that you can invite people to, and or where can they find you to stay updated on your events?
Well, I have one coming up. I haven't set the dates yet, but it'll be January 2024, and it's going to be called Awakening Your Wise Woman Within through the Transformative Power of Dreamwork. But I don't have anything out there yet. So probably I use Facebook. Dream Tracking is the name of the Facebook page that I do most of my posts on, and Instagram is also at Dream Tracking. So that's the best place to find me. I do have a website, which is just bambicorso.com or dreamtracking.com. But again, I'm using more of the social media on the day to day. But yeah, I
Perfect.
would love to have, and people have questions and can write on Instagram. I mean, it's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to link all of those down below to make it easy for everyone.
Oh,
Highly
nice.
recommend to follow her so that you stay updated on all of the events. The workshop is incredible. I know our workshop was a little bit shorter, so I'm so excited
Yeah.
to see what you do with, 8 weeks worth
Mhm.
of tracking. And also, it sounds like it's going to be very empowering for women. So I'm
Yes.
excited for that.
Yeah.
If anybody has any questions, or if you can please let us know through an emoji con down below. It helps people find us. It also helps others find Dream Tracking with Bambi Corso-Steinmeyer. And yeah, thank you so much for listening in and participating in this discussion. And we will see you next week.
Oh, thank you so much, Jassy.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure, and I love your work. So it's really an honor to be on your show. Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
Thank you.